Let's have a look at amortization. So when we do amortization, there are a few definitions that we need to know. Firstly, what is a bond? So a bond is a loan for which your house functions as a collateral. What this means is that when you borrow money from the bank in order to pay a house, which at every point you cannot afford to make those repayments, the bank can actually come back and repossess that house and sell it. That's how they make sure that they will get a return on their money even if you stop paying. Amortization is the spreading out of the payments of your bond over multiple periods. So you make small monthly payments to pay off a house of millions of rands over normally about 20, 30 or 40 years. It can also be defined as an action of paying off a debt with regular payments. So it really is the action of spreading it out, where the bond is the loan amount itself. So let's have a look at how these payments work over a period of time. In this specific example, we have a house of 1.8 million. The interest rate of 9.25% is given per annum. And the period over which we're going to pay off this house is 30 years, and the monthly repayments are also given. So here we see the months on the side in this table. So it shows the first 3 months that we're paying off this house. And since it doesn't seem like there's a deposit, so it means 1.8 million is my opening balance, which is also the loan amount. You will see that the loan amount decreases every month as you're making payments. Your interest also decreases a little bit every month because your loan amount decreases every month. So you will see that the interest is not the same, and that's just because your loan amount is slightly less every month. Your payment stays the same every month. That is the calculation that the bank did and what you've agreed upon. It is normally about a third of your salary. So you will never be given a bond which exceeds a third of your salary, the monthly repayments. And then there's something here called the capital reduction. Now, the capital reduction means the amount with which the loan amount or the opening balance decreases. Because over here, the interest actually makes that loan amount more, but then the payment makes it less. And the difference between these two is only 935 Rand. So in actual fact, because the interest made your loan amount more and the payment made it less, your capital or your loan amount only decreased with 935 Rand. So that's what we have here. This is only 935 Rand less than my opening balance of 1.8 million because of that interest that was added on. The good thing, however, is that because your loan amount is slightly less at the beginning of each month, your interest will be slightly less, and therefore your capital reduction will increase. Let's have a look at how the different amounts were calculated in this table. Do you still remember that there was a 9.25% interest per annum? But in this case, the interest was charged per month. So one of the first things we will have to do is find out what the monthly interest is. When I divide 9.25 by 12, I get a value of 0.77083333. So normally the best way and the most accurate way of working out what the interest amount is to not work with this rounded off answer, but rather say multiply by 9.25 divided by 12 over 100. And remember, it's over 100 because it is a percentage. And if you type this in your calculator, you will indeed get 13,875. So we are going to follow this exact same method for month 4, but we need to start with looking at what the opening balance is. And your opening balance or your loan amount is always the same as the closing balance. So you just need to rewrite what the previous amount was. And you'll see that's also how they got the loan amount or the opening balance for each of the other months. So here we had 1.799065 million, and here we have exact same amount. Closing is 1,798,122 Rand and 79 cents, and that is also our opening balance over here. So when you need to do the opening balance, you merely look at the closing balance of the previous month. To calculate the interest, we're going to follow the same procedure as what they did at the top. So multiplying by 9.25 divided by 12 over 100 and that gives me an amount of 13,853 Rand and 21 cents. Remember that your payment stays the same every month, so there's no calculation needed here. But now I need to calculate my capital reduction. And like we said earlier, the capital reduction is the difference between my interest and my payment. So the difference obviously means that you are going to minus them off from each other. And if you do this, you get 956 Rand and 79 cents. Now, in order to calculate your closing balance, there are one or two ways of doing this. Firstly, you can say your loan amount minus your capital reduction. And this will give you an amount of 1,796,216 Rand and 53 cents. The other way would be to add on the interest and then subtract the payment, and that will also give you the same amount. But normally, just minusing the capital reduction is definitely the shorter way. So sometimes when we get to the last month, we might not have to pay the full amount because we don't owe a full another payment. So let's have a look at what happens in this case. So exactly like we did with the previous example, my closing balance will also be my opening balance in this case, which is 11,170 Rand and 14 cents. And you should already see from this that this is less than your monthly payment. The interest on this is calculated in the same way. So following that accurate method of doing it all in one go by the saying 9.25 divided by 12 over 100, I get 86 Rand and 10 cents. Now the next step can be quite tricky because now we need to see what do we owe the bank in total. We owe them 11,170 Rand and 14 cents and we owe them interest for that month, which means that I need to pay both these amounts, which together is 11,256 Rand and 24 cents. And this is quite important because it's less than 14,810 Rand, because it is you only still owe the bank 11,256 Rand and 24 cents. So your capital reduction, if you subtract these two, the interest and the payment, you will see that it gives you exactly the same amount as my opening balance of 11,170 Rand and 14 cents. And then your closing balance for the last month should also always be 0 because you don't owe the bank anything anymore. Once we've given you all of these amounts, the next question that could be asked is how much did you pay for this house in total? So now we need to look at these payments that you made every month of 14,810 Rand and see for how long we paid it for. We paid this for 359 months. So obviously I'm going to multiply these ones, but then you should also remember that for the last month you had a different payment of 11,256 Rand and 24 cents. This altogether gives me an amount of 5,328 Rand and 46 Rand and 24 cents. And you will see that this is substantially more than the 1.8 that the house was worth in the beginning. But because I paid off over such a long period of time and there's such a lot of interest that was added onto this, I end up paying almost 3 times what the house was originally worth.